I think it's about time we check back in on Gamera. It's been a while since I've taken a look at one of his. Got the same Blu-ray from last time. So, third in the series comes Gamera vs. Gyaos. Definitely one of the most important in this series. This movie pits Gamera up against another monster while still keeping him the main character, unlike the previous movie. And it goes back to having a child in the lead human role. Again, something that was missing from Gamera vs. Baragon. The English title for the movie back in the day was Return of the Giant Monsters, yet again seemingly trying to mask the fact that the big turtle is in this movie. I don't get it. The enemy monster in this movie, obviously, is called Gyaos, and he is the closest thing Gamera has to an arch-nemesis. Every time Gamera has been rebooted, Gyaos has appeared, and has gone through so many changes over the years. You could say he's essentially the King Ghidorah of this franchise. In fact, Gyaos is the only enemy monster to appear in more than one movie here in the first series, not counting stock footage, which we'll start seeing pretty soon in this franchise. This first incarnation of Gyaos appears to be an imitation of Rodan, though this is more of a bat than a pteranodon. A friend of mine described Gyaos as an evil triangle monster, and I mean he's not wrong. Gyaos can fly, obviously, and like many a flying monster at the time, his wing flaps stir up crazy strong winds that demolish buildings. He also has a laser that can cut things perfectly in half, including almost severing Gamera's arm. Ouch. Like most monsters in the series, Gyaos gets more interesting as the movie goes on. Later on, we learn that he drinks blood and that his body deteriorates in sunlight. So not only is he a bat, he's a vampire bat. How's that? We also learn that Gyaos can regrow his limbs, which he does after Gamera bites off one of his feet. With Gamera's injuries and Gyaos' arsenal of abilities, you can see the trope of Gamera in trouble and monsters with surprises yet again. I feel like this movie was where those tropes were finally really cemented. We're 3 movies in, and it really seems like this is gonna be the blueprint for all the Gamera movies going forward. At least for the time being. Okay, we've gone on about the monsters long enough, but what are the humans up to in this movie? Actually, I'm pretty sure the real question is, do you even care? There's a human subplot about a village trying to drive up the price of their land before selling it to a highway construction company. But this is the most uninteresting, boring part of the movie, and it doesn't amount to anything worth a damn. This movie is the first one where I'd say Gamera is definitively a good guy, as well as the first example of him being the friend of all children. He rescues the lead kid in the movie from Gyaos at the start, and then in a pretty humorous scene takes him to an amusement park. Okay then. The monster fights are pretty spectacular in this one. Way better than the previous movie, I think. Gamera better get used to fighting Gyaos now, cause he's gonna be doing it a lot more after this movie. One final thing to address, anyone familiar with the series probably knows the famous Gamera March song, which is the one I have printed on my shirt here. That song first appears in the movie immediately after this one, Gamera vs. Virus. But this one does have a bit of a precursor to it called The Song of Gamera. Not quite the same thing, but close. I would say that this is one of the best movies in this first series. Gamera himself is in a lot of the movie, there's an interesting enemy monster, a kid in the main role giving us a childlike perspective of these types of movies, and great monster action. Everything with the humans generally blows, but if you're willing to look past that, I think you've got a good time on your hands with this one.